Hello, YouTube viewers. This is Sincere Michael, being my 287 podcast. And like always, I'm going to speak very loudly, very clearly, and very slowly in case you don't understand it. Also, I'll try to do my best not to reach hard during this audio podcast recording as well, not to cause any audio feedback as well. Now, anyways, let's get into the topic of this podcast. Now, as you guys know, recently the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 animated series ended a while ago. So this review is about I'm just going to review the pros and cons about Yu-Gi-Oh! 5. I gotta say, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 was not a bad series. You know, it was not a bad series at all. It was pretty good as for the fifth Yu-Gi-Oh! series. Now, in case you think I'm mistaken, we had Yu-Gi-Oh! We had GX, we had 5D, we had Zexo, and that so basically Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 is the fifth Yu-Gi-Oh! series. A lot of people think that thinks that that Upside doesn't count as it counts as a sixth Yu-Gi-Oh! series, but it really doesn't. Honestly, it's called Upside for a reason. Anyway, I gotta say, Yu-Gi-Oh! really blew my mind. His deck is, I thought that, out of all the decks we've seen from past Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonists, I gotta say, Yu-Gi-Oh! deck really impressed me the most, honestly. The Karma really deck, I think it's the best deck out of the previous Yu-Gi-Oh! antagonists at all. I gotta say, the Pendulum, the Performer Power deck really mixed with so basically Yu-Gi-Oh!'s deck is basically Performer Powers and magicians. So basically, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good deck. But anyway, the whole story for R5 is very good. Definitely as the who was the pose. Definitely as being the Kaiba for it was a pretty good character. His deck was also very good. It was the best. It was the best Kaiba. It was like the best Kaiba deck for an protagonist I've seen in Yu-Gi-Oh! in a while. Honestly, but. The storyline, the whole Upside storyline was good, but it seems like a lot of things it could have been better. Honestly, during the Academy when it came to certain dimensions, I feel like, when it came to the different dimensions and the different types of summoning, I feel that ritual summoning was left out in this series. So that is one bad con about the series. Like, you have had Master Fusion summoning, Exceed summoning, and Synchro summoning, and also Pendulum summoning, but he had not mastered Ritual summoning. So basically, I feel like, like Ritual summoning got left out in this series. And also, there was no Ritual dimension in this whole series. Now we had the Fusion dimension, the Exceed dimension, and the Secret dimension, but there was no dimension for Ritual monsters. So once again, it's like like you should, like they say, they show all the different types of doing summoning, but they just left out ritually summoning. So basically, I felt like even though witcher monsters are not been popular or not been used in the game that much, but I feel like they should have been represented, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Art and also it should have been a ritual dimension that so, it's just like the other standard dimension, I figured at this point there was no ritual monsters being used in Arc 5. So basically I felt like, I think that ritual monsters should have been displayed in Arc 5. It should have been a ritual dimension to really help bring ritual monsters back into the game. But anyway, also I like to say we got plenty of cross characters when it came down to it. Like it's good to see you like. Well, it was good to see you dueling Jack and Crow in the single dimension. In battle, he fighting Aston and Lexus in the fusion dimension. But when it came down to it, it was a lot of lack of characters. So basically, like the main character, it would have been awesome if would have deal with Yugi and Jada in the fusion dimension, do what you say in the synchro dimension, and do Yama in the XC dimension. So basically, what I'm trying to say here is, it would have been like, it would have been better for the series if Yugi uses that if Yama would have do the past protagonist for Yu-Gi-Oh series. So basically, when he went to the fusion dimension, he should either battle Yugi or Jada in the fusion dimension. Then once he went to the action mission, he would do you said. Then when he went to the action mission, he would do Yama. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, they had the opportunity to really do something special here, but they sort of didn't went all in in this series, because honestly, and also left the confusion question that since the fusion dimension where since the fusion dimension has two of the characters, or the GX characters, and the single dimension has all the 5D characters and the XC dimension. Well, we didn't see any of the sexual characters in the XC dimension. So basically, it left it kind of confusing. All these Yu-Gi-Oh series take place in different dimensions. So basically, but a lot of people figure, Eddie all these series take place in the dimension that you are from, but but all the other dimensions that he been to, are just alternate versions of this alternate version of the it didn't have it didn't have Yusei, Yugi or Jaden at all. So basically everybody saying that that Yu-Gi-Oh is the destination where all the Yu-Gi-Oh shows took place, and the Disney doing dimensions are just what if Yu-Gi-Oh that Yu-Gi and the others did not exist in those dimensions. So basically I figure they could have done a better job to explain, why we didn't see Yugi, Jaden, Yama, and Yusei in the single dimension, the fusion dimension, and the exceed dimension. So basically, overall, a lot of good cards came from this series as well. So overall, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 was not a bad series, but honestly, they could have done more. They could have really done more with this series. The series, I feel like they went in, but they went in this like they went in halfway and not go in fully because they could really go out, honestly, and but pretty much a lot of good duels came from this series. So basically, so basically, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc was a very good series, very good Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So basically, I can't wait to see the 6th Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So and see how this turns out. But honestly, like I said, this was not a bad series. They could have done a lot more and big details about certain things and whatnot. Explain things more in Arc 5. About the different dimensions. About all these different. All these dimensions are different time versions. If Yugi, Jaden, and Yama and Yusha did not exist in the previous four Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. So basically, I would like to, I like to see what I'm trying to say. I like to get more details about about certain things in Arc 5. What was very much not explained in the whole series. So, but anyway, Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 was a very good series. So basically, if you guys had not watched or read the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 series, I suggest you read it or watch the episodes because it's a pretty good 5th Yu-Gi-Oh! series. So anyway, what do you guys think about it? Do you think Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 was a good 5th Yu-Gi-Oh! Season, or you think they could have done better? So please let me know with the comments below. Anyway, this is Sincere Michael signing off. 1,